The Union Budget has proposed adjusting the tax slabs under the new tax regime to make it more appealing to taxpayers. The standard deduction has also been proposed to be increased to Rs 75,000 from Rs 50,000, but only under the new tax regime. To understand what this means, you first need to understand what standard deduction is. A standard deduction is a fixed amount of money that salaried workers and pensioners can subtract from their total income before calculating their taxes. This helps reduce the amount of taxed income, so you end up paying less tax. The higher standard deduction of Rs 75,000 means that anybody with an annual income of Rs 7.75 lakh will not have to pay any tax. Under the new tax regime, a taxpayer with an income of up to Rs 7 lakh per year is eligible for a full tax rebate under Section 87A. Now, these tweaks will help salaried employees in the new tax regime save up to Rs 17,500 in the income tax, according to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's budget speech. The new tax regime anyway levies lower tax rates on the same gross income compared to tax liability calculated under the old tax regime. But will this increase in standard deduction help everyone save some more money? The savings in tax due to the change in the tax slabs will be more pronounced for lower and middle income groups, but will be negligible for those in the higher income bracket. Now let's understand this using 5 scenarios. Number 1. New regime 2023 versus new regime 2024 at a salary of Rs 5.5 lakh. In this case, if the taxpayer is already under the new existing regime, then there is no change under the revised structure of the new tax regime. Basically, this means that under both the scenario, the tax liability for you is zero. In the second scenario of new tax regime 2023 versus new tax regime of 2024 at a salary of 10 lakh. If your income is Rs 10 lakhs, the revised new tax regime will bring a benefit of Rs 10,400 since your tax outgo will reduce from Rs 54,600 under the 2023 scheme to Rs 44,200. Moving on to the salary bracket of Rs 20 lakh. If you're earning a salary of Rs 20 lakh per annum under the new tax regime 2024, the tax outgo will reduce by Rs 18,200. Scenario 4 at a salary of Rs 65 lakh. Now, if your income is more than Rs 50 lakh, the surcharge kicks in. So if you're making Rs 60 lakh per annum, the total tax saving under the new regime will be Rs 20,020 against the tax regime of 2023. Now let's compare the new tax regime of 2023 to the proposed new regime at a salary of Rs 6 crore. If your income is at Rs 6 crore, then under the revised new regime, you can save Rs 22,750 compared to the 2023 regime. We've also made calculations for those making Rs 8 lakh, Rs 12 lakh, Rs 25 lakh and Rs 60 lakh, and also for those making Rs 1.2 crore per annum. This is the second change in the slab structure of the new tax regime in as many years. Last year's budget had reduced the number of slabs from 7 to 6. In her speech, Sitharaman pointed out that 2 of 3 taxpayers opted for the new tax regime in the previous financial year. However, this is also because the new tax regime has been made the default option for computing tax. Once put in the new regime, the taxpayer can switch to the old regime only at the time of filing his tax return. Now, what's the break-even point? It is important to note that the scenarios shown in the tables are broadly indicative. Before taking a call on which income tax regime to opt for or understanding how much you can gain by staying in the new tax regime, it is important to do your salary specific calculations. If your gross income is over rupees 15.75 lakh, then you're better off taking the new regime only if the deductions and exemptions available under the old tax regime are less than rupees 4,33,333 excluding standard deduction. And finally, let's quickly talk about the old tax regime. Now, in a signal to wane off this deduction regime, the Finance Minister did not announce any changes to the old tax regime. The tax slabs for that continue to be nil tax up to rupees 2.5 lakh income, 5% tax between rupees 2.5 to rupees 5 lakh, 20% tax rate between rupees 5 to 10 lakh, and 30% tax rate above rupees 10 lakh. The basic exemption limit for senior citizens is rupees 3 lakh and for super senior citizens is rupees 5 lakh. That's all in this video. Thank you for watching.